remember that song on this slide? Om Shri Sai Ram. I think the dinner has hit the brains now. Om Shri Sai Ram. It's a little difficult to make out whether you are awake or you are fast asleep after that lovely dinner. Om Shri Sai Ram. That's much better. Let me start my experiences with what happened in my life. I have a song in Hindi. The translation you will see across. It's very simple. It just shows how Swami changed my life, your life, our lives. जब से मैंने साई पाया, मेरा जीवन बदल गया. जब से मैंने साई पाया, मेरा जीवन बदल गया. जब से मैंने साई पाया, मेरा जीवन बदल गया. जब से मेरा जीवन इस जहां की बुराइयों से, इस जहां की बुराइयों से मुझे छुड़ाया प्यार देके. तब से दिल मेरा मन मेरी काया, मेरा जीवन बदल गया. तब से दिल मेरे काया, मेरा जीवन तब से दिल मेरा मन मेरा काया, मेरा जीवन बदल गया. तब से दिल जब से मैंने साई पाया, मेरा जीवन बदल गया. जब से It's for the men also. सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम, राह दिखाया चलना सिखाया. सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम, राह दिखाया चलना सिखाया. तब से दिल मेरा मन मेरी काया, मेरा जीवन बदल गया. तब से दिल all together. जब से मैंने साई पाया, मेरा जीवन बदल गया. जब से इस जहां से दिल तब से दिल मेरा मन मेरी काया मेरा जीवन बदल बदल गया तब से दिल मेरा मन मेरी काया मेरा जीवन बदल बदल गया मेरा जीवन बदल बदल This is my story, this is your story, this is our story. Having realized Bhagwan in our lives, all of us who have been lucky to have had the physical proximity, and those who have not been so lucky but still have been close to Bhagwan in the ethereal world, Swami has changed our lives. I came to Bhagwan when I was barely 3 years old. A little young girl from Bangalore. I went with my parents, and as we reached Puttaparthi, a small hamlet that it was, sitting on the sands outside, Bhagwan beckoned us to come for an interview. The whole family trudged in, and Swami spoke to everyone, and I, the little girl, kept looking below his sleeve to see what he's taking out. At that time, in 1963, he took out Vibhuti, and I kept looking from below the sleeve what's coming out. We left Bangalore at that time and came back to Bombay, and 14 years passed. In the world of evil we lived, forgetting all about Swami, when suddenly, one Wednesday night, Thursday morning, Swami started coming in my dreams. Every Wednesday, every Thursday morning, he would come in my dreams and say, teach my children, teach my children, teach my children. I didn't understand. I remembered Sai at that time. I had a fantastic memory. And I remembered Swami at that time. But I didn't know what he was saying, teach my children, teach my children. I was basking in glory. I just got a gold medal from Bombay University, declared first in psychology in the university, declared first in English in the university, and here somebody telling me to teach children. I wondered, why does he want me to teach children? But my love for Swami started growing, because every Wednesday night, every Thursday morning, the dream would haunt me. One Monday evening, I went for a bhajan. And I sat to the bhajans praying to Bhagwan, tell me what you want me to do. As the bhajan got over, a British Guyanese lady got up and said, Kamala, will you teach my children? Quote, unquote. When she said those words, it was like an electric current going down my system. Same words that Bhagwan was using in the dream, she told me. I said, sure, auntie, I'll come. Because at that time, I had just got a job as a teacher in a nearby school, as a substitute teacher for somebody who had taken ill. So I said that since I'm teaching in a school, teaching children outside school will be even more simpler. So I went armed with all my charts and ready to tell a story. And I started a story, and from that day, there was no looking back. Every Thursday, I went to the class regularly to teach children. To such an extent that every time Bhagwan came to Bombay in his physical form, he started calling me Bombay Bal Vikas. Wherever I was, he would search and say, Bombay Bal Vikas, how is Bal Vikas doing? So I became identified as Bombay Bal Vikas. And time passed on, and it was a debacle that took place in the family. A financial debacle that made my parents leave home. There was no money at home. And here, I was teaching children. But Swami was so great. Whatever threats that came to the house at that time came only when I was not present. He didn't want me to even see what was happening. As I said, all the evils in that song that I said, he conquered and with his love. It was time that I started taking Bal Vikas, and In the class where I used to go was on the same floor Nimish staying. On the same floor in the neighbor's house was Nimish staying. His brother used to come to my class as a small little boy. There was a difference of 8 and 8 years between the three brothers. The youngest was 16 years younger to him. So he came to the class and I didn't know who it was. His mother would come and sit. I thought she was his kaki, or what you call auntie or grandmother, because there was to be a joint family in their house. So I talked more to his aunt than to the mother, not realizing that this is the family I'm going to enter into. We started working together, and Swami came again to Bombay. It was the January of 1981, and Swami was at Shivaji Park, a big Maidan, a big, you have what you call as the congregation center, right in the heart of Bombay, where the Shiv Sena chief, Bal Vikas, was called as a chief guest. And I was, for the first time in my life, exposed to 10,000 people and to speak before Bhagwan. When I finished speaking, Swami called me and blessed me and said, very happy, very happy. And then he turned around to Bal Vikas, the Shiv Sena gentleman, and said, you know who she is? She's my Bal Vikas Bombay. Time passed and the financial status of the house became worse. There was no food to eat. We didn't know when the next meal would come, and Swami came to Bombay again. He searched for me in the crowds. And then when I was sitting far behind, he called me and said, hey, where's your father today? So I said, Swami, you know, my father can't come. The creditors are all threatening him. Hey, tell the creditors not to worry. And turned to Indulal Shah and said, see, when she comes on Friday with her father and mother, the car does not stop down. Nobody will touch them. They will come straight up. So we went straight up on Friday, the 13th of May, unlucky for many. I still remember that day. The car drove up and Swami came out of his residence straight to my father and mother who came out from hiding that afternoon just to have darshan of Bhagwan. As soon as he came to my father, he said, money comes and goes, morality comes and goes. You have not cheated anybody, why are you worried? Worry about her. She's growing old, get her married soon. My father said, Swami, we have no money. How to think of marriage? Don't worry, she's not your daughter, I will give everything. You come, I will give everything. Then he turned to me and asked, what kind of wedding you want? You want a big show wedding? You want a big public event? Or you're happy with an interview room wedding? So I said, Swami, anywhere you are there, I want. I don't want public. I don't want show. He said, okay, 10 of you come, 10 from the Broom side, and 10 my people will come. If any of you have seen the interview room in Prashanti Nilayam, will wonder how with Swami's chair and a wedding party, how we can fit 30 people in that small little room. The magic that happened. That 1.5 years when we got to know each other was like a roller coaster ride. It's like going up and coming down, going up and coming down. Swami would come and tell me, same boy, I will give you that boy in your life, Bombay boy. And he will go and tell them, come for interview. This to me in the lines outside. He'll call them, the mother, the brothers, the Nimish, everybody will go for an interview and he'll say, not this girl. Any other girl you bring, not this girl. She's Sindhi. She's from Pakistan. She's Muslim. Not this girl. They eat non-vegetarian at home. She puts a lot of makeup. She wears short dresses at home. How can such a girl live in your house? And then he will search for me outside and come and say, see, I spoke to your husband. What he tells you is not the truth. What I tell you is the truth. This was Pakka Narad Muni. Except that Narayan was missing. This happened not once, twice, thrice that I started thinking I'm going mad. Either I'm not hearing correctly because they are getting interviews every time and I'm in the line, Swami talking to me and going aside. So maybe I'm not hearing correctly. Anyhow, time passed and Swami came to Bombay and I told you what happened and we went to Puttaparthi. As soon as we landed Puttaparthi, he called me, my mother and my mother-in-law for an interview. And we went in. And I was very free with Bhagwan. I was like a daughter to a father, you know, that electra complex that every daughter has for the father. I was so attached to Bhagwan that I ran to him and I said, Swami, tell me why you did all this. 1.5 years you kept saying no to them. 1.5 years you kept saying yes to me. You drove me crazy, Bhagwan. I'm almost mad. Don't worry, Bombay Bal Vikas. Don't worry. I will tell you everything. So he went and brought out a red color sari. I stretched my hands thinking red is the color for the bride. Hey, not for you, for your mother. He went in again and brought a rust colored sari. I stretched my hand, this definitely is mine. Not for you. Gave it to my mother. And then he brought out a blue color sari. So I wondered, again he's playing a fool with me? No, this is Megha Sham. This is Krishna's color. You don't like it? Oh, you're Sindhi, no, you want chiffon. I've given you Kanchivaram only. My mother-in-law asked Swami after that, what about boys, Swami? What does my son wear? Usually Swami gives a sari for the girl and a dhoti for the boy. So Swami turns to me and says, tell them. I was shocked because he knows everything that has happened between us. In fact, I was Sindhi, so I used to ask him during our courting days, what do you wear at night? You're a Gujarati, what do you wear? Just like Ba would tell me, here we have Masi sitting with us. What do you wear at night? I asked him once. So he said, we wear lungi. I said, lungi and sleep? If it falls, shame. You won't believe it. The exact words Bhagwan repeated. Tell them, he said. If he wears dhoti, what will happen? It will fall and it will be shame. Then I said, Swami, I want to talk to you. I want to ask you something which has been troubling me all the while. Why have you done all this for me? Everything you have talked about. The sari, the Mangalsutra, everything. And what he said makes my hair stand on end. He said, you have done so much for me for Bal Vikas. Can I not do this much for you? Imagine God telling me, it's too much. He brought everything out. The Mangalsutra, the flowers, everything he brought out. He kept asking me, what have you brought for her? Have you brought a necklace for her? Have you brought bangles for her? Just like a father would worry for his daughter. And then, when I went back the next day, he called me again and said, are you happy with everything? Is everything okay with you? And when I entered the room, you won't believe what happened. There was a minister from Rajasthan sitting. And he turns around and tells the minister from Rajasthan, a big man, he was a pompous fellow sitting. You know who she is? She's my Bombay Bal Vikas. And tell him how many children you have in Bombay. So I, like a peacock, said, Swami, 13,000 children. 13,000 children she looks after in Bombay. You know that? She's my Bombay Bal Vikas. Now when I think, what is 13,000? For the God of the universe, 13,000 is only a speck in the divine vision of Bhagwan. But for God, that little that he speaks about works wonders. So for ladies especially, I mean, I don't know about men, if you can devote time, it will be very good for group 2 and group 3 children. But ladies are ideal for group 1 because Bal Vikas is an appointment with God. If you look at the word Bal Vikas, I'm like Jaga, I love to use acronyms. In fact, I think my purpose of getting gold medal is only acronyms. I learned my entire jurisprudence as a lawyer, psychology as a psychologist, only through acronyms. Because that's one of the best tools for memory training. So when I started Bal Vikas, I had a beautiful acronym for Bal Vikas. If you look at the word Bal Vikas, when you go to school, you learn consonants and vowels. Let's go to the vowels first. A, I, A are the 3 vowels in Bal Vikas. A is an appointment with God. So remember, every time you take a Bal Vikas class, that little that you did for Swami is going up and up and up because he loves Bal Vikas. He comes and sits in your class. Let me share with you what happened one day in my class. The children would never come on time on a Saturday morning. So I thought, what should I tell them? I said, see, every time you come to class, remember, Bhagwan is already there. And to help me, God always supports your cause. So the telephone ring would ring at that time. Exactly at 5 o'clock the class begins. At 2 minutes to 5, tring, 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 the bell will ring. If I go to pick up, nobody will answer. Not once, not twice. It happened for 3 to 4 consecutive Saturdays. So when it happened continuously, I told the children, Swami is trying, he's not speaking. So the children now associated that every time the Bal Vikas class begins, the telephone bell rings and Swami is coming. One Saturday evening, I told the children, come early. Remember, Swami is there. You should be there to receive Bhagwan, not after he comes. So they said, okay. At 4:40, the child came and all the children were seated in the class. And we were just waiting, we were talking about general things. I like to talk to them about what they see on TV. Just a little chat before the class. And suddenly the telephone bell rang at 4:45. So one little 7-year-old gets up and says, Auntie, today Bhagwan has come early. I said, what? Yeah, see Auntie, 15 minutes are more and the bell is ringing. I said, how can it be? He can't come so early. No, Auntie, you forgot. Today is 2nd Saturday. All offices are closed. Swami did not have to wait at the airport of traffic signal. His car came straight to us. This is how you can promote punctuality in the child. Not only punctuality, the belief that Bhagwan sits in your class. It's not an empty class, it's not a tuition class, it's not a drawing class. It's a Bal Vikas, which is the biggest thing, the greatest seva that a woman can do for Swami is nurturing the little tender buds. So therefore you must remember this one thing, that whatever you do in the class, offer it as an appointment with God. I, the second vowel in Bal Vikas. And what is that vowel in Bal Vikas? The second one, I. I is inquiry. When you start with Bal Vikas, you will find that your entire process of thinking changes. You are constantly thinking, is this correct or is that correct? Should I do this story or should I do that? Can I tell this, can I sing this song with the children? Can I play this game or should I do like this? All the time that inquiry begins. That is opening the second marga, the Jnana marga. The first was Bhakti, now Jnana, the path of wisdom. The third A in Bal Vikas is that you get Nishkama Seva. It is what you call doing service without craving for the fruit of it. And therefore, this sort of the third A that you have is action without desire for fruit. Do it and forget. It's like the right hand does and the left hand doesn't know. It's that dedication. You offer everything to the children. Nimesh told you today morning that Swami kept asking about our children. So he was always, in fact he would add on, he forgot to tell you that he would add on, "Tum bolta nahi, you're not telling, your wife is crying for children." He would tell like that. Makes his own stories. Swami loves to add spices. So that once, twice we sat for a puja. You know, these Brahmins have this habit of asking you, who's your mother, who's your father, which gotra do you belong, which, what is your birth sign, everything. And I remember he would ask, how many children, after the Pandit would ask us, when we sit for a puja, how many children, so they'll pray for the children. So when we say we have no children, you will see the Pandit's face becoming small. Wonder why he's feeling sad. We don't have children, but why is he feeling sad? So one day I told Nimesh, why give him trouble? When he asks us, this is how God promised you. When he asks us, now how many children? We'll say 2 children. So he said, which one? I'll say, we'll say Bala and Vikas. Bala is our daughter and Vikas is our son. So whenever they ask, we say, Bala Vikas. So he looks at us, the Pandit, Bala daughter, Vikas son. So after that, the Pandit never asks us, how many children? Same Pandit that comes to Dharmakshata, but never asks. He believes in Bala and Vikas. So, the importance of Bal Vikas is as beautiful in the form of a song, which I like to share with you. You have heard of Do Re Mi? Sound of Music? The same tune. B for blessings, count them now. A for Ananda, that's bliss. L for love that flows from Him. V for values, one and all. I for integration. K for knowledge of the self. A for anugrah, that's grace, that will bring us back to SAI side. B for blessings, count them now. A for Ananda, that's bliss. L for love that flows from within. E for values, one and all. I for integration. K for knowledge of the self. A for anugrah, that's grace, that will bring us back to SAI side. You won't believe it, when I sang this song before Bhagwan at Pune Chandra Hall and the Bal Vikas conference in 2004, Swami said, yes, Bal Vikas will bring you back to SAI. That is the power of Bal Vikas. I forgot to tell you at the time when I asked Swami, why are you doing all this for me? He said, you are doing my Bal Vikas, can I not do this much for you? Then he said, Swami has anugrah for you. Swami has grace upon you. If anugrah is there, all the navagrahas will change. Your horoscopes will change. Every graha in your, the positioning of the planets will change if you have the grace of God. And therefore, effort plus grace must be the goal of every side worker in the organization. If you look at the name of Sri Satya Sai Seva Organization, it is Sri Satya Sai Dev Seva Organization. The first 3 words taking the name of Bhagwan, Sri Satya Sai, have a great meaning, a great lesson to teach to each one of us. As acronyms, now we will do now a deductive process. Sri Satya Sai, SSS. After you absorb these 3 S's, then only serve. Then only plunge into seva. Without personal sadhana, do not do community sadhana. You will be a total wreck. And that is what is necessary. You have to improve yourself before you improve them. And that's what Bal Vikas does. Every time you teach your child not to tell a lie, you have to first not tell. Every time you tell a child to do meditation, you have to first do it. The first S of Sri Satya Sai is start the day with silence. Start the day with silence. That means 2 minutes, 1 minute, 3 minutes. As soon as you get up from bed, after you have brushed your teeth, drank water, whatever you are doing, your normal ablutions, sit in a corner, sit quiet and meditate on the divine Jyoti and the divine form of Bhagwan. Remember beautiful experiences with God. If you don't have experiences, remember lofty thoughts. Imagine whichever God, whichever Jyoti, whichever light you can think, and concentrate its silence. This silence is important because it awakens the doors of intuition and intellect. What cannot be acquired by intellect will be got by intuition. And remember, in the field of spirituality, only intuition helps. The voice of God must become louder and clearer. And this is possible only if you sit in silence. Just 2 minutes is not difficult in the morning. During the day, the next S must be ventured upon. And that is self-study. Self-study. Read little. Listen to good thoughts, good stories, good music. But one thing you must do as Bal Vikas teachers and gurus, not only Bal Vikas, as any Sevadar member, read Sai literature, read good books. I wouldn't restrict you to Sai literature only. I would tell you to read good books. Because as you read, your vision expands. And at any time, when you have to share with the children or share with your workers, you have a bank of stories ready with you which you can share, which can touch the heart of people. I have a book which I call 1 Minute Wisdom. It's written by a father, Francis de Mello. In exactly 1 minute, you can read an anecdote and then go off to sleep. That works wonders when you want to share, when you want to let go a lofty thought upon tender children. Let me share with you one story. I still said this before Bhagwan, and I'd like to share it with you. An old man came to me and said, "Ma'am, you're a lawyer. I want to prepare a will." You know what's a will? A last testament. So I said, "Fine, what do you want to do?" He said, "See, ma'am, I've lost my wife at a young age. I have a son called Raju, and I have a servant boy who helps me called Ramu, and I have 19 horses. That's all I have. Only 19 horses." I said, "Fine. How do you want to share it?" "That's simple, ma'am. I want to give half of these horses to my son Raju. I want to give 1/4 of these horses to Ramu, my servant, who has looked after me, and the remaining 1/5, I want to give it to Dharmakshetra, the Sai center where I go every evening." I said, "Fine." So he said, "Draft the will, bring it and I will sign it." I said, "Fine." "And whom do you want to make an executor of the will?" He said, "Make Jaga the executor." So Brother Jaga's name was written in that. I prepared the will and I wrote it and I brought it. He signed it in the presence of Brother Mahendra and Brother Suresh Govind. The will was closed and kept with Brother Jaga. Within a few days, the old man hit the bucket and went off. Brother Jaga was questioned by the son. Raju asked, "Brother, can you open the will and see what my father's written?" Brother Jaga said, come, let's all sit and open it together." And he sat in the village, near the banyan tree of the village, and he started scratching his head. So, "What happened?" asked Raju. "Arey, this lady has a lawyer, she had made a big mistake. In the very first line she writes, I have 19 horses. Half the horses you give to Raju, my son." Half of 19? Half of 19? Half of 19? 9.5. She wants me to slaughter the horse into half. How can she write such a will? So they are still scratching their head like this. When Brother Vijay comes on his horseback and says, "What happened, Brother Jaga? What's the matter? Just see what the advocate has written. Now how do I go up and get the will changed?" Oh, such a simple problem. Don't worry. He got off, Brother Vijay got off from his horse and he says, "Jaga, bring all the 19 horses." So Brother Jaga ordered were lined up. Brother Vijay got off from the 20th horse and put the 20th horse along with the 19 horses. 19 plus 1, 20. Now distribute, Brother Jagat. Simple. Half of 20, 10. 10 went to Rajiv. 1/4 of 20, 5. 5 went to Ramu. 1/5 of 20, 4 went to Dharmakshetra. 10 plus 5 plus 4, 19. Brother Vijay sat in the 20th horse and was about to leave, and Jagat stopped and said, "What did you do, brother? Tell me what you do." Brother Vijay said, "Simple." And this is exactly what happened in Purnachandra Hall. This is not a Hindi movie, it's an exact life story. I am telling this story, and whenever you are in trouble, add the 20th horse in your life. That 20th horse is God. The Purnachandra curtain moved, and Bhagwan wheeled out on his wheelchair at 1:40 in the afternoon, a time when God would never come down from his bedroom, and said, "I am that 20th horse." So whenever you are in problems, do not forget God. In fact, let God be your guide, let God be your companion, let God be your partner. Take him with you everywhere. This I learned from my Bal Vikas child. I told the children one day, in Bombay you can't tell children not to see TV, nobody will come to your Bal Vikas club. It's worse than care. So you have to modify to the changing times. So I said, see, you see TV, but tell me what good things you learn from TV. In whenever that serial you see, especially between the serials there are ads. See those ads, tell me something good. Fine. Next Saturday morning the child comes and says, "Auntie, I know one thing good I saw from that." I said, "What is it?" There is an advertisement of Colgate toothpaste. Have you seen that advertisement? The child today is a dentist, but see, at the age of 7 that child told me something very beautiful. She said, "Auntie, in that ad, they show a mother and father with a set of pearly teeth. There's a daughter sitting in their lap with equally good milky white teeth. And then there is a Colgate toothpaste. And have you seen that ad? Anybody? It must be the same ad all over the world. And you all must be seeing Star Plus and all the Indian channels. Have you seen that ad? Anybody seen something that goes around that Colgate toothpaste? There is a ring of protection that goes around it. And there is a sound associated with the ring of protection which says, tring. The child has associated herself with her. Said, "Auntie, just as Colgate toothpaste can protect, when we leave the house, we must do the ring of protection and then leave the house. Nothing will happen to us." From that day, the child has taught that we must all do the ring of protection. Swami, be with me, God be with me, and then leave the house. A small lesson, but a valuable lesson from a child. So therefore, the first S, I said, silent sitting. The second, self-study. And the third S is self-audit. Before you put your head on the pillow at night, ask yourself the question, have I been a better person today than what I was yesterday? If the answer is yes, sleep. If the answer is no, find out where did I go wrong. Whom did I hurt? What could I have done better? Maybe I could have done the class better. Maybe I could have been a better daughter-in-law. Maybe I could have been a better mother, a better sister, a better brother, a better father. Think about it and make amends to improve yourself. Because the very goal of life is self-transformation. When you transform, the vibration circle around you will automatically attract the others also. And it is in the presence of such good people that all others become good. George Bernard Shaw has said, "Why fool must you improve the whole world? Improve yourself and there shall be one fool less in this world." So reduce this one fool, remove this one fool, and you'll find that the world is a better, happier, much more pleasant place to stay. So the Sri Satya Sai Seva organization has a valuable meaning in it. Start the day with silence, fill the day with self-study, end the day with self-audit, then plunge into Seva, and you will make Sri Satya Sai Seva organization an immortal organization. an organization that the divine avatar wanted it to flourish as. Not Ayaram, Jayaram, means came and went. No, we don't want such, because remember, the living avatar was with you. And what an avatar? To whom Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara and Tripura bow down, to that avatar you belong. Therefore you must put your very best foot forward. Do not think it is one more activity. Remember, it is the only activity in your life that can bring salvation to you. If you want to change the course of your life, take up one sadhana, whatever. I remember telling Swami that very afternoon, Swami, I can't do medical seva. I can't do this. Swami says, don't worry. Do Bal Vikas. Bal Vikas is your way of life. Identify your way of life. Do that. But do it as if it is the last moment of your life. There will never be a tomorrow. If that is the dedication with which you do, remember that little for which you did, Swami, everything. And that's what we want. Not material pleasures. Material pleasures will come and go. But what you want is that feeling that yes, He is with me at all times. He is with me at every moment of my life. I know it's very difficult, but we have to become strong. And that strength will come from within. That strength will come from silent sitting, from self-study, from self-audit. Last point which I would like to just end with is that, I know it's getting late, I can see a number of you yawning, the food is now really hitting from the stomach to the brain, all the cells are getting very dull. But the last thing I would like to say with you, and end on a very comical note, I don't want too much of crying, that's natural, because every time I remember that scene, it just flows out, the tears of love. But this is a very comical scene that happened. Do not underestimate anyone. Don't look down upon anyone. Not even the Bal Vikas child who comes to your class, not even the Bal Vikas friend. There is a wealth that you can get from those little tiny thoughts. A little anecdote from that 1 minute. There was a big conference of all the nations of the world. And everybody gathers at the American, the Chinese, the Japs, everybody. And before they have a meeting and a conference, they have a come to tea. So the dining table was there, and everybody was seated. Next to the American, who claims that he speaks English very well, sat a very humble Chinese gentleman. When you have people sitting next to you like how you're sitting in a congregation, it's very natural that you will say, Sai Ram, how are you, from wherever you come. Try to strike a conversation. So the American turned out to the Chinese and asked him, "You're from China?" The Chinese man nodded. Well, you know how Chinese, Japs, you Malays are all very humble. They're always bending and speaking. It's a beautiful quality that we must learn from you. So the Chinese nodded. So the American thought maybe he doesn't know English. So he nodded. So when the soup came, he asked him, "You like soupy?" Like how you talk to children? "You like soupy?" The Chinese nodded. Then came the rice and the fish, and he said, "You like fishy?" The Chinese nodded. Didn't say a word, just very humbly, with a lovely smile on his face, he nodded. Then the ice cream, the fruits came. "You like fruity?" And it went on that nod. The plates were removed. Everybody was brought to order, and the entire congregation was seated as you are seated. And the master of ceremonies came on stage and said, "Now, dear friends, I would like to start the conference proceedings. I invite Mr. Winlin Chai from China to come and give the president, chairman of today's conference, to come and give his presidential address." Winlin Chai got up from his seat, walked to the stage, spoke the most impeccable English, finished with a thunderous applause, a standing ovation. He went down to the American and said, "Like speechy?" With this note, I will say, Sai Ram, like speechy?